What's up, everybody? I'm David Hain. Welcome to episode number 307 of the A2D From Addict to Disciple podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, please like, subscribe, follow, and share the link with your friends. If you'd like to get our curriculum, you can get the paperback or ebook of From Ashes to Destiny on Amazon. Today's episode, number 307, is entitled Fuel Your Future. And this will be another one of our group episodes. So, guys, in the group, I'd like you to handle this question. If you're focused on your past, how can you fuel your future? So, I'd like your reactions to that and input on how you have let go of your past. And if you have an example of what you do when the past bubbles up again, what you did to deal with it. So again, for our listeners, these are guys from South Africa, Australia, and the U.S. in recovery who take part in this group session. So first, Ben, you ready to start us off? Sure, David, great question. The old saying, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, comes to mind. Looking at the past just makes me sick, and it makes me tired. But don't get me wrong, the past is a great teacher, and sometimes you want to recall it when you're needing guidance on making a decision in the present. But for me, in order to fuel my future, I must live in this present moment the best I possibly can with an optimistic and positive attitude. One of my favorite Bible verses comes from Psalms chapter 46, and it says, "Be still and know that I am God." When I look back over the last 20 years of recovery, it was the moments I slowed down to take a few deep breaths and realize where my feet were standing in the present moment that God gave me the wisdom I needed to make the next best decision. It's the same today all these years later. Past bubbles up, I just stop, take a few deep breaths, quote that verse from Psalms chapter 46, and then step forward. Thanks, Ben. Great way to start us off with how to fuel our future and learn from the past at the same time. Charlie, what do you think about this question? Honestly, David, in some cases when the past bubbles up, and for some traumatic situations like my mother's death 8 years ago, my thoughts of the future go out the window, and I get caught up on anger or resentments that keep me from wanting to fight someone or feeling the need to explain myself. The only two things that feed me were the 12 steps and finding Jesus in my heart. So when I see pictures of mom or a memory comes up of fighting and abuse, I pray and meditate. I continue to get into praise, prayer, and worship daily to get a peaceful place that I can go to, and I haven't fought anyone yet. And God leads me to healing and helping others, which helps keep my mind on God and off my own stinking thinking. Charlie, thanks for your honesty there, and I can hear the battle in your words as you think back of abuse times and you think back of your mother's death. And so I like the way you gave us real tangible things that you do so you can be fueling your future even though the past bubbles up. Eddie, what do you think about this one? David, my bumper sticker for this one would be one step at a time, living forward. For me, hanging on to my past was like trying to drive with the handbrake on. The more you hold on to it, the more it wears you down. I had to change my perspective about what had already happened and put that energy into what's next. I used to run those same old hurts and disappointments over and over in my head, thinking somehow it would change things. Those thoughts would be my growth moving forward, my desire to be better. Now, if those thoughts resurface, I just think, yep, that happened, but I thank God for grace, undeserved favor, and then get busy living forward. Great bumper sticker, Eddie. I like that. One step at a time, living forward. Great way to fuel your future. Dante, what's your take on this topic?
David,
If I'm focused and dwelling on the past, my future will forever be uncertain and never happen in a way I want to or in the way that I realize my potential. The past can be a great teacher if you don't let it hijack your mentality or emotions. Typically, when I think of the past, there's painful things that come up and there's positive things that come up. But for some reason, the painful things tend to find their way to the top. If I'm intentional about recognizing what happened, and even when I don't understand it, talking to a trusted friend, a spouse, a pastor, a co-worker, someone who can help me process what I'm dealing with, like a counselor, then I can use what happened in my past and allow it to shape my future and what it will look like. I now find myself in a loving and fruitful marriage with 2 wonderful children and a career that any individual would be proud to hang their hat on. But if I let things in the past become instruments of destruction instead of instruments of creation, I will not reach the destination I am wanting. And what am I wanting? I'm wanting to realize my full potential. I want to know that what I do and did helped others and mattered. Pain and problems is an opportunity in reverse. If I take that pain, that past, and I process it in a healthy manner, there's no limit to the possibility my future holds. Awesome, Dante. Thanks for your input there. A lot of wisdom. And I really liked where you said, if I let the things in the past become instruments of destruction instead of instruments of creation, I will not reach the destination I am wanting. That's great words for all of us. Thanks again, Dante. Harry, what do you think of this topic? David, one thing I learned from my late pastor is that when you hit rock bottom, you can only look up and climb up. Look and focus on your small daily wins in life. We have to deal with our past as quick as possible and forgive ourselves for the acts we committed. If we don't forgive ourselves, we will live with regret, and that's a cause for many to relapse. Once you forgive yourself and believe the Lord has forgiven you, try your best to live a new life, a changed, righteous life. It's 11 years that I am clean, and still I get those memories coming in my mind at the worst times. My whole body starts to cringe, and I tell myself, how did I ever commit such stupid things? I start to pray, and I proclaim that I am victorious, and I won't let those past sins drag me down again. One thing I learned is to never focus on our past, but keep one reminder should the temptation to relapse come again. You never go forward in recovery if you focus on your past. I tried for 10 years to stop, and every time my past sins came in mind, that was a trigger for me to relapse, because at that time I didn't know about God's forgiveness and how to forgive myself. Once I learned that and believed that we serve a God of restoration, I got victory over my addictions. Thanks so much for sharing that with us, Harry. And I liked, as you talked about, the focusing on forgiving yourself and believing that you've been forgiven, and then try your best to live a new life. And that is a great way to fuel your future. Freddie, you ready to close us out? Sure, David. In early recovery, staring in the rearview mirror, looking 100 miles up the road, and being a maudlin martyr, a discontented victim, challenged me. The proven solution for me? Connecting spiritually, going through the 12 steps. And still, as I did this, it was focused on ridding me of guilt and shame. I had attempted suicide, and I was an absentee father and husband, and this had lots of ripple effects. It took effort, time, and living the amends to rebuild relationships. I'm thinking about a Zac Brown Band's song to share the lyrics, which really pull this all together for me. The song's called Let It Go. It's about navigating life's storms, but also delighting in the sunny days. Here's the lyrics that I'd like to share. You keep your heart above your head and your eyes wide open, so this world can't find a way to leave you cold. And know you're not the only ship out on the ocean. Save your strength for the things that you can change. Forgive the ones you can't. You gotta let them go. David, that's the key for me to fueling my future, is learning how to find the strength for the things that I can change, forgive the ones I can't, and letting go. I gotta learn to keep letting go. Wow. Thanks, guys. Awesome session today. I appreciate all your input, and I hope the listeners will really get a lot out of it. And I want to thank the listeners for being here with us. If you would like to reach out, you can contact me at the link in this podcast. If you want to get a message to any one of the guys, just mention their name. I can send it on for you. And you can go to my website, www.froma2d.org, and click on the contact page. If you want to send me an email, you can do it at davidfroma2d@gmail.com. Keep listening to future podcast episodes. And as always, stay safe and stay resilient.